You are watching Seven Rivers Sports. I'm your host, Terry Erickson. Each week, an inside look into sports, wellness, and fitness. Well, this week, two special guests. You know, one of the better track and field programs in the state of Wisconsin is La Crosse Central. A lot of good teams in this area. But La Crosse Central through the years has been very, very good in the MVC and into the postseason. And guess what? Today, two of the best from La Crosse Central. Emma Scott, Julia Gasper, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Terry.
Well, let's start with something a little different. The world is changing. The pandemic throughout the world causing all kinds of issues, and it really struck home with you because your season was cut short. The special part of being a student athlete, your senior year, you can't really showcase your talents in the spring season. And all of your closing activities, graduation, banquets, and so on, wiped out. Emma, that was a tough time. Share that with us.
Well, you wait all year for the spring sports season, especially being track athletes. And last year, it was my first year doing track, and I went to regionals, and I finally it finally clicked with me for discus, and I made it into finals, and I was the only central thrower to make it into finals at regionals. And I was about 3 feet away from moving on to sectionals. And I was just kind of hoping for that senior year track season to make it farther and make it to state. So,
you know, there are some people that look at the issue that we just talked about, Julia, and they say, well, you know, young people are resilient, they can work their way through it, and there are other bigger things to worry about. And that's true when you look at it from an adult perspective. But wait a minute, when you're a young person, and I can kind of go back in my own mind to when I was in school, and that was taken away, that's more emotional and difficult than what a lot of people think, isn't it, Julia?
It is. It has been tough, but in the end, I do think it will make us stronger as a generation, because not everyone's had to deal with something like this. There's been different stuff that different generations have gone through that have done that, made them stronger. But for us, it's a little different because it's not like we're, being shipped off to war or anything. We were left alone in our houses for 2 months with our thoughts and unfinished business at school and everything. So I think it'll make us a lot stronger emotionally, mentally.
Well said. But were there some emotional moments, though? Were there some tough times when you look at everything you missed in the spring?
There definitely has been. Every time I go into town, I pass Central, and I get a little bit teary-eyed, honestly, because there wasn't really any closure, and there wasn't a final end to anything, which makes it a lot tougher, I think.
And you said before, too, Emma, that this was a chance to showcase what you had done, and you're an elite athlete, both of you are. Emotions must have run deep with you.
I remember showing up right when school got called off for that month, and I showed up to practice, and we didn't really have a traditional practice because no one really knew what was going on, and I just sat there thinking wow, this is all over, and we had a week and a half of practice, and I worked all winter, and now it's just over.
Very difficult. The world is watching this country in terms of what has happened in the last 7 days plus with racial issues. And so and some of it may not affect you or La Crosse, but indirectly it does. And the world is watching to see if there's going to be any significant, tangible changes in this country. What's your thought on that, Julia?
I think if everyone works together and everyone gives it their all to try and make change, whether it's peacefully or however they see fit, I think we can make a change and make improvements that have been long needed. But it's very difficult, as that's why it is still around, because it's hard to change people's thoughts but we have to keep trying.
I love this community, and I remember this community it was not diverse when I was younger, and I call it now kind of the Boys and Girls Club particularly, which I ran for over 40 years, kind of a United Nations of children, meaning that children from all different backgrounds, races, and so on. I don't see a lot of racial issues in this city, and I'm not. I don't have a hood over my head. I mean, I know it's not perfect, but I asked somebody the other day about that. It was a high school student, and she said to me, "Terry, this is a good community, and there's not a lot, but some of it's hidden." Would you agree with that, Emma?
Yeah, but I also feel like our community does a really good job of helping those in need, whether it's through like the Rotary clubs that we have or the BGC. I think they do a really good job of doing that, and the school district I think does a good job of trying to help the lower income students. I noticed it especially when like all the COVID stuff happened and our like online school wasn't starting right away because our school district was trying to figure out for ways for the kids who didn't have Wi-Fi at home to get Wi-Fi and were able to continue their learning. So I think our community does do a really good job of it, but obviously it has its problems at some points.
Yeah, and we recognize that, but this is a great community. Well, the motivation for the pursuit in the journey to become an exceptional student athlete, which you both are, begins at an early age, and it begins with a dream. It begins when you're very young and you want to become a successful high school student athlete. Okay, let's go back down memory lane with you, Julia, when you were very young, and somebody must have recognized the gift in you to become an accomplished student athlete.
Yeah, so honestly, a lot of what I have accomplished came from watching my brothers, because I watched them, both their mistakes and their successes, and I learned from them. I saw what they wanted to do and what they needed to do to get there, and I took that and mixed that with my own thoughts and worked hard to get where I am.
Who inspired you when you were young that you could reach your dreams?
Definitely my dad. He's always, whenever he sees anything at all that's tangible, any type of goal, he gets right on it and he makes sure he'll do anything to get there. And even for me, he's helped me so much over the years just to get to where I am.
And Emma, your journey started when you were young. Your journey started with a dream. What was that dream?
Well, I played hockey for most of my life, and then my hockey career came to an end with a bad hip injury. And then after that, I had 3 more surgeries after my first one. And after every surgery, you kind of wonder, like, wow, am I ever going to come back from this? So it really is just hard work and determination to be here today and to be going on to the University of St. Thomas. As a track athlete, I never thought it was going to be possible.
And did somebody plant that seed when you were young?
Definitely my mom. She has been there for me through all my hip surgeries, and she really pushed me. But then in high school, it turned into Ryan Bott, with him coaching powerlifting for me and everything that he's gone through, and even like the past couple years with his cancer diagnosis. And he really stepped up as a mentor and like really just like a great person to look up to, as he's always working hard and always goes out of his way to make sure that you're okay even when he's going through something big.
Well, Ryan's a good friend of mine.
Yeah.
And his dad played for me when he was young as an athlete, so I'm very close to that family. Ellen Scott, when you look at your profile, golf, you dabbled with golf, you're a thrower, you got the build of a thrower, power lifter, you could see that. You worked to get better as a track athlete by power lifting, and you said Ryan Bott has been your coach. 4 academic letters, 4 all-conference MVC all-academic, 4 powerlifting letters, National Honors Society, youth group, LC club officer. Now, our viewers are like, oh my goodness, has that girl ever accomplished a lot? How'd you find time for all that?
Well, if you know me as a student athlete, I usually am doing my homework or at practice. I really spend a lot of time in the weight room, and I really take pride in what I do in there. And then I take pride in my academics too, because it's just been built into me that academics is important, and I really treasure that opportunity.
Well, you're the epitome of a student athlete. But before we go to break, Julia Gasper, track and field 4x2 relay, we're going to talk about that, long and triple jump. But wait a minute, class president, vice president, Interact Club, Student Senate, National Honor Society. It's like, you wonder why you're on this show. Well, you epitomize a tremendous student athlete also.
Yeah, coming in junior year into senior year, I decided that since I didn't have to worry about the ACT anymore and the grades to get into college I've already had, I decided to spend more time joining different organizations and everything, because it's good to be needed in clubs and organizations and have a purpose. And I find if you don't have a purpose, you are lost, and definitely has been shown over the COVID little break in society, but yes.
Well, I mean, what do you think? Wait till you hear the rest of their story, like Paul Harvey used to say, and now the rest of the story. You're going to hear that right after we take a break. We'll be right back here on Seven Rivers Sports.
With our busy lives, it's a comfort to know that we can still remember loved ones in a traditional way with a monument. Lewiston Monuments in Lewiston, Minnesota has been helping families purchase a monument for over 4 generations. You'll find a large selection of beautiful granite, marble, and bronze monuments, all at competitive prices. And they're a full-service company, so they also do straightening, cleaning, and repair of monuments. Stop in or call for a no-obligation consultation, or visit lewistonmonument.com for more information.
You know, the thing I'm most proud of when I think about our company is the reputation that we've been able to build in this community. Our technicians have done a great job going out and performing magnificent jobs for the customer. And our customers have rewarded us with some really great reviews online.
We have over 150 5-star reviews online right now. Our technicians do a great job out there, and our reviews show it.
We can say without hesitation, when you choose Schneider Heating and Air Conditioning, you'll be glad you did.
Welcome back to Seven Rivers Sports, a special show this week as we profile 2 Central High School student athletes, Emma Scott and Julia Gasper. Do you know, a lot of authors talk about the ingredients to becoming a successful student athlete, and the fact that the season and the career starts and ends with what you stand for as a team, what you stand for as an individual. Do you put others before yourself? Do you mail it in, or are you totally committed? What's your thought on that, Emma?
I think I'm definitely totally committed to my sports, but also I'm also really committed to helping others and going out of my way to making sure that everyone's okay and make sure the underclassmen know what they're doing, especially in the weight room. I spend a lot of time coaching or helping out underclassmen, but also one of my big things that I did during my junior year powerlifting was the Ryan Bot t-shirt sales, the Bot Strongs. It was during finals week, it was during the peak powerlifting season, and me and another junior just totally knew that we needed to do that for Bot, because he just does so much for us and our program and everything else. So we really took our time to sell over, I don't even know, 7,000 t-shirts, and they went all over the U.S., and I just really am grateful that we were able to do that to help benefit the Bot family.
You were the catalyst, but guess what? I have a couple of those shirts.
Yeah.
And I wear them quite a bit. If you want to become a accomplished Central High School student athlete, or any student athlete at any age, one of the prerequisites is that you are coachable. You don't think you know it all. You have an appetite to learn. Is that you, Julia?
I definitely would say so. My freshman and sophomore year, I spent a lot more time in the gym and stuff because I did volleyball, basketball, and track. So I was there all summer, all fall, all winter, all spring. So I spent a lot of time with Coach Q, and that is one of his biggest teaching moments is be coachable. And you also have to have mental toughness, taking advice and criticisms and turning them into technique and plays and different performances. Definitely something you have to be good at, and it takes a moment to learn, but it's good.
A lot of athletes ride that crest when things are going well, when they're on top. But when setbacks occur, which we all have in our life, you'll have them as you move into the next few chapters of your life. We all have had setbacks, adversity. And some people can handle it. Oftentimes, people cannot handle it. You know how to handle it, Emma, because you had 4 hip surgeries. You've had multiple setbacks. Share some advice on how to handle those setbacks.
Well, so my first hip surgery happened after a championship softball tournament, and it was an emergency surgery. Right after the game, I went to the hospital, and the Summer Olympics were on. So I watched the summer track Olympics laying in the hospital bed thinking, wow, I might never be able to do sports again, and sports have kind of been my whole life, and I've spent so much time in them. So really, it's just hard work and determination, and even when it gets hard, you really can't ever give up. And one of the main keys that Ryan Bott has told me is that the only way is up. So even when you feel down, like, you only can go up from there, and it applies in the weight room, because when you're going for a new squat max or you're going for a new bench max, the only way is up, and it gives you a little extra fuel to keep going. And after each hip surgery, you kind of have that same feeling of, I already went through this, like, why is this happening again? And you kind of get discouraged, but it's really shows what kind of an athlete you are to come back after an injury and to be able to keep competing.
Julia, if the sweet shop was closed, because I live in that area, and I was looking for another place to have an ice cream cone or a sundae or something, where would I go?
You would go to the Pearl.
Because she works at the Pearl, right?
Yes, I do.
That's your part-time job.
That is.
And you've done that for several years, or not?
I've been there for a year. It was Mother's Day was my first year anniversary at the Pearl.
Good, good. And so you're able to have a part-time job in addition to all the other things you're doing. Well, if I was looking for something like to buy for a birthday present, where may I go?
Target.
And you would wait on me.
Yep.
Okay. So if I didn't know anything about Target, if I walked in and said, I need some help, what would you say?
What are you looking for? What aisle you need? I don't know.
I don't know. I have no idea what I'm looking for. Would you kind of escort me around and show me?
Yeah.
Good.
Me and McGuire would help you out.
Oh, he's one of my favorites. How do you know that?
Because you told me when on the phone call that you and McGuire are buds.
Yeah, McGuire Werner we're talking about. He's been on the show too. All right, so getting back to some serious things. So you're both headed to St. Thomas next year. And if you've never been on that campus, and I guess I'm talking to viewers, one of the most beautiful campuses I've ever been to in the heart of St. Paul is St. Thomas. So talk about what you plan on doing there. You're going to participate in track and field. You're going to be a collegiate athlete, and what's in store in terms of your major and career and so on.
I am planning on majoring in exercise science, on being the pre-physical therapy program, and then I'll be on the track team and I'll be a shot putter, discus, and weight and hammer thrower.
And you've been on that campus, so you know how beautiful it is.
Yeah, multiple times.
Yeah, and Julia too, St. Thomas, Tommy.
Yes. So I am planning on majoring in business with a possible minor in sustainability. I want to do something environmentally friendly, and because that's kind of where the world's heading and what it needs. And I'm also going to be part of the GHR Fellows Program, which is a cohort of about 10 students. And
GHR is an acronym for?
I think, I'm not completely sure, honestly,
Okay.
but that's just, it's like there's a foundation. I think it's someone's name. But anyway, so we are going to be like together for the full 4 years and do different team building exercises and activities. And so I will be able to be in contact with many different business leaders in the Minneapolis-St. Paul area. And we're doing a group study abroad program, I believe.
Ooh, you got lots of things going on.
Yes.
You know, I talked to your coach, Chris Chills, who's a good friend of mine, and here's what she said about you two. Kind-hearted young ladies, and the epitome of student athletes that get involved in their school and leave a legacy for others to follow. What's your thought on that, Julia?
Well, Coach Chose and I, we've had a very strong relationship. My brother was friends with her son, and so my brother is about 5 years older than me, and he did track all throughout when I was in middle school and everything, and so I would always go watch, and Coach Chose would always be like, when are you coming? When are you going to be my jumper? And so that kind of gave me a incentive to be even better, because I wanted to be a good student athlete for her.
And you've lived up to that. Kind-hearted, caring Emma Scott.
Well, I just remember when I walked in to the gym for the first day of track practice, and Coach Chose, like, I never really talked to her before. I was always in softball, and she opened the track and field program with open arms to me, and I was able to really get to know the throws coach and Chose. She was really happy with my performance at regionals. I just stayed in contact with her throughout the powerlifting season, and she checked in, and state powerlifting is always the weekend before track starts, so when we show up to practice on Monday, we're always gassed, and she's always so understandable and always so proud when we come home from state, because there's about several different powerlifters, and her daughter was a powerlifter, so.
She was? Rapid fire drill, starting with Emma. Rapid fire drill. Quick question, quick answer, and so on. Toughest opponent that you face?
Definitely Tori Whitcraft at Logan.
She's been on the show. And your favorite opponent?
Tori Whitcraft at Logan. We always push each other to do better. And
define leadership.
It's really just showing or being the example for others, and really pushing each other to be best, even when you're competing against each other.
Philosophy of life.
The only way is up.
And if you use that to get yourself up the ladder,
Yep.
and when you're down, you think of that saying.
Mm-hmm.
Julia Gasper, define leadership.
Leadership is all about relationships, as Coach Service taught me in our leadership class. Emma and I were in together.
Yes, and Coach Service does a good job of leadership. Philosophy of life.
Treat others as you'd like to be treated, because you don't know their life story and you don't know what they're going through.
Exactly. Disappointment. We've all had disappointment. What would be yours when you look back?
Definitely this past track season, because I wanted redemption for last year at sectionals, where I missed state by one place. So I wanted to be able to redeem myself. But
what would be, if there was a saying that would be identified with you, what would that be? What would be that, Julia? What would that be? A saying they use like, this describes me.
Work hard to get what you want, because if you don't, no one else will do it for you.
Yeah. Take the road least traveled. If
Yes.
if not now, why?
When? Yes.
How about all those kinds of things? Well, it's a pleasure. Being the host of this show is uplifting for me because I get to meet and interact with tremendous student athletes that are examples for this community, for others to follow. So my guests this week, Emma Scott, Julia Gasper, welcome to the next chapter in your life, which means college, and I'm sure you'll be as successful then and throughout your life as you have been as a Central Red Raider.
Thank you.
Thanks for being on the show.
Thank you so much.
All right. We'll be back with some closing thoughts right after this.
You know, the thing I'm most proud of when I think about our company is the reputation that we've been able to build in this community. Our technicians have done a great job going out and performing magnificent jobs for the customer. And our customers have rewarded us with some really great reviews online.
We have over 150 5-star reviews online right now. Our technicians do a great job out there, and our reviews show it.
We can say without hesitation, when you choose Schneider Heating and Air Conditioning, you'll be glad you did.
When you're faced with the decision of selecting a monument to honor someone dear to you, call Lewiston Monuments for a no-obligation consultation. Lewiston Monument is a full-service monument company, serving families in Iowa, Minnesota, and Wisconsin for over 4 generations. You'll find beautiful granite, marble, and bronze memorials, all at competitive prices. Their experts can help you design the perfect and unique memorial. Lewiston Monument. Call today or on the web at lewistonmonument.com.
Hope you enjoyed this week's show. Next week, 2 Onalaska High School student athletes, Nick Pica and Jess Undell, as we talk about their baseball season being cut short with the pandemic. Well, that's it this week here on 7 Rivers Sports. I hope you're staying safe and healthy, and like me, looking forward to getting your life back in the weeks and months ahead.